It's patch day here in Marvel Snap. We're using fear-mongering in the title. Kitty Pryde has phased back into the game. Second Dinner is killing multiple decks with a single change, and their card acquisition improvements are proving to be incredibly divisive, giving handouts to the whales while leaving free-to-play players out in the rain. We're going to be breaking it all down right here. You can scrub through the timestamps down below if you want to hone in on a specific part of our discussion. We have a lot to cover today, and I would really love to hear your thoughts down in the comments on what you feel about these changes. There's some very divisive changes coming here to Snap, but I think that one thing we can all rally around enjoying is the return of Kitty Pryde and how Second Dinner handled this. She was incredibly buggy on release, but now coming back, she's free for absolutely everyone. They have slightly altered her ability, but maintained the identity of the card, and I am so excited to have the Queen of Bounce back, my favorite archetype, and she is an enormous force multiplier. She is a power upgrade for that deck, to be sure. Check out my video to be able to see how you can best take advantage of your new free card. Now we have new customization options. We're back in the game client here, so when we go to the deck selection screen, I've got a conspicuous Kitty Pryde size hole in my bounce deck here. I can select edit right here from this screen, taking me directly in to be able to edit this deck. Oh, I love this. I love this. Now, the other thing that I have to test here very quickly, have they fixed this? Where if I'm, say, working on Ramper, and then I made a change, I took Odin out, but then I'll just put him right back in. Does it automatically have that as my selected deck? It does not. Next time, Second Dinner. Anyway, when you're going through here, you can press edit. Takes you right in directly to that deck. You're now able to customize what avatar and title are going to show specifically for bounce. So if we want to change this around, we could have our Kitty Pryde avatar, and then instead of really dirty, I don't really have a title that I necessarily love right now. I don't know what goes with Kitty Pryde either. What if we just go for Matchmaking Sucks? That's always a classic. Rock that one. Check me out. Put Kitty Pryde in, and then take me into game. Next up, the series drop, and oh gosh, this is where we start to get a little divisive. So they're trying to open up the randomness and variability around what cards drop and also where cards release. They're saying that they're going to start releasing some cards directly into Series 4, which I'm a big fan of that. But now, and they could also be accelerating cards that are dropping down, maybe dropping cards directly into Series 3, or just accelerating the rate at which cards drop into Series 3 to be able to give players more easy access, let more people be able to test these cards. Those are great things, but they're also choosing some cards to stay back in Series 4 that we expected to be dropping down into Series 3. They're keeping the good stuff more expensive. So on the one hand, it's protecting the players' investments who spent the tokens on those cards, and on the other hand, it feels bad that it's just random. It's like, oh, nope, you were planning on saving tokens to be able to acquire Hawk and Null and be able to play with those decks. Well, now you're going to have to pay the $3K to be able to get those. I don't like this. I wish that it was more telegraphed as to when they were dropping, though of course Second Dinner has the proprietary right to be able to drop whatever they want, whenever they want. It was never fully set in stone that the cards would have all the exact same cadence dropping down. Still disappointing to see this one. So just for completionist sake, Master Mold Negasonic Nimrod going down from 5 to 4, and Sentry, Surfer, Dazzler, Shadow King, Sauron, and Ghost down from 4 into 3. So this is accelerating. Ghost was not anticipated to drop, and I believe neither was Dazzler. Not very good cards in the community's eyes, though I think that there could be something there around Ghost. Dazzler I really have not found any success with, and of course the coveted Hawk and Null, as we already said, staying in Series 4. How long? I don't know. Should you buy them at 3K? They're worth the 3K, but if they just drop next month, then it feels a little bit like a waste, because I was generally saying just hold off on these cards until the drop. I don't know what to recommend. The thing is that Hawk especially is leading the meta everywhere. I think you do need to acquire him. The Null, incredible with Galactus and with Negative Destroy, which had a little bit of a resurgence around the peak's hot location, so I think everybody saw the potential of that list, but Hawk is definitely a priority there. Now, ranked mode changer, they're just changing absolutely everything. Now, instead of 10 cubes, you need 7 cubes to be able to rank up. Why not 8? Second Dinner. 8 would feel like the grail, right? Because then if you win the 8 cube double snap matchup, you go up a full rank. That's just a nice, even mental idea. It's either 10 or it should be 8, because those are the big numbers. 10 is just decimal system, and then 7 feels odd. It's lucky, sure. I don't know what they're thinking here. I hope to see this change to 8. They're not necessarily marrying themselves to 7. They want to keep on experimenting, but then also the number of bonus cubes you're getting is not as high. So you need fewer cubes now to be able to rank up in a set to be able to get up to rank 100 for Infinite, what everybody is trying to be able to reach. But now you're no longer gaining the 50 cubes when you go up. You go up just 3 ranks. So they're cutting down your bonus cubes by an enormous amount. Hold on. How much really is this? Because they're set. Why is it a 7? It's 21 cubes. Instead of 50, they're giving you 21 cubes. But you have to climb 30 less total cubes to be able to make it the rest of the way. So it is 1 cube better for you than before to be able to rank up. I don't know why they're making these kind of push around changes, but we'll see how things settle. Now I think what everybody's going to be very excited for, the balance updates. Very few changes, but some incredibly dramatic ones. So we have Kitty Pryde released with the new design. You can return this to your hand to gain +2 power. This was her old build at the 1-0 stat line. Maintain the stat line. When this returns to your hand, +2 power returns at the start of each turn. It pushes you away from being able to play a 6 cost in conjunction with Kitty unless you're able to get that energy discount on her with the Beast. It does mean that now Beast and Falcon return her, give her the buff. I love this overall. I know the flexibility hurts a little bit on not being able to just keep her on the board when you wanted to maintain her on the board and then be able to roll into a different card, a big 6 cost finisher. You're not going to be able to do that nearly as easily. But I think that overall her synergies working with the Collector, Angela, Bishop, and then especially now, the ability to get that power buff whenever Falcon and Beast are returning her to hand is a huge step up for the card. So I think she's releasing in an even more powerful state than she was on the old side. And man, Bounce is going to celebrate. Now Crystal, old was a 4/4 on reveal. If this is at the middle location, shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 3 cards. I wanted to make sure that we read that out because I don't think anybody had ever seen Crystal actually get played in their games. The new is a 4/4 on reveal. Each player draws a card. Finally, a counter to Hawk, being able to knock cards out of your own deck with a nice little draw effect here. A 4/4 stat line, still very lackluster. I would have, because this is a balanced, both players drawing, I would have loved to see a stat buff in conjunction here. I mean, would we have been so sad to see a 4/6 stat line? Looking at White Queen, gives you a copy of the opponent's most powerful card. So you get a powerful card, you get information about what their hand is capable of, and you get a 4/6 stat line. Crystal, on the other hand, is a 4/4, so it's behind in stats. You just draw a card from your deck, so yes, you're going to have synergies with the rest of your cards that you put in your deck, hopefully, as long as you're building an intelligent list in any way whatsoever. The opponent is also going to get a card draw. And yes, it's interacting with Hawk in an interesting way, but because it is reciprocal, I still don't love Crystal. I'm going to try and find a way to make her work. If you have an idea on how to make her work, let me know down in the comments on something that this really inspires you to build around. And with Mr. Negative, of course, has the highest upside now. Now I think that her pairing with Negative is as strong as it has ever been. But would you want to run Crystal when you could just run Jubilee? Jubilee, if she's inverted, is better than the Crystal and also doesn't give the opponent the card draw. I don't know. And the biggest, bloodiest change we have ever seen in Snap. I qualified that for a second in my mind, thinking about if there's anything else that was more dramatic than this. There has not been. Wave, on reveal next turn, cards in both players' hands cost 4. New, on reveal all cards cost 4 until the end of next turn. Wave's cost reduction occurs after other effects that reduce card costs. Death Wave, you're dead. Buried. Murdered. Murdered in cold blood. Doom Wave, sorry, find another combo. Death and She-Hulk in conjunction with Wave, that synergy no longer, they'll be 4. They will no longer be able to discount themselves from 4. They are locked at 4. No more multi-card playing shenanigans on Wave's watch. It is a 1-card only play. Wow. Ramp Wave is still fantastic, but Doom Wave and Death Wave, decks that had been very popular in the meta, just murdered like that. Incredible. Incredible. I think that these ramifications is really going to hurt Death the most on her getting seen play. They're trying to give her a little bit back. They're giving her 1 cost less on this change because her performance has been so dependent on wave here. They're not giving anything back to She-Hulk. I don't think that they necessarily should give anything back to She-Hulk. She-Hulk, I think, has a better chance of hanging around in specific lists. But this, the death change, devastating. Devastating to the destroyed decks. They're going to have to adapt quite dramatically. I could see death going down to maybe a 7 cost to be able to keep on giving some power back to that archetype, which I think is really fun. It did get a buff to the Venom, so it could be that they try and give power back to this list in other ways. Also, we've got a data mine on Pheonix Force. That could be an incredible boon to the destroyed decks as well. We'll see what comes of this, but for now, put that deck away. You can just delete it out of your open up space on your deck lists in app. Just delete the Death Wave and the Doom Wave. They're going to need some real reworking to be viable. White Queen here has a text-only change, and then we get into bug fixes. Retreating while Kang is rewinding should no longer cause an awe-snap error. Thank you, thank you. The Kang trolls can no longer crash my client when they are unhappy and retreat during the animation. Why was that ever a thing? Why was that ever a thing? I was looking through the bug fixes to see if there was any hidden buffs to cards and performance altering changes. There's not really anything like that, though I do want to call out now, cards that had their power altered by another card should show the proper adjustment in the card detailed view. That is amazing. And when you have the large view, it was just, I don't know, I got so used to being able to inspect and then be able to see the normal power, and then in the last patch changed it so that you would only see the base power. Very odd change on that. Card acquisition updates. The fear mongering, allow it to begin. So we have up front some good news. Good news first. Flexible series release. They are anticipating being able to release some cards directly into Series 4. They're going to begin by releasing 2 cards in June. It's not necessarily locked that it's always going to be 2 cards per month into Series 4. It could be whatever the developers want. They're just going to start experimenting with this and see what the community feedback is. I hope that we reinforce a lot of positive feedback here on cards coming directly into Series 4, which I think is just vastly more accessible with the current rate of token acquisition. Way easier to be excited for a card releasing when it just comes in for 3K, and then being able to play with it immediately could be really fun. I am waiting to see which cards they are that are dropping. My anticipation is that they're going to drop the quote-unquote weaker cards. The cards of perceived weaker power level are going to be cheaper. There could be situations where that still makes them more desirable than paying the full 6K price for some of the other cards that they're holding back in Series 5. And then the flexible series drop. So this is where we are getting the more randomness in the series dropping. So before, we had really been expecting Null and Hawk to come down into S3. It was their turn based on the perceived cadence of all cards dropping down. The developers are like, nope, these guys remain. Hawk, Null, Shanna, Stature, Zabu, MODOK, they stay. Is Zabu going to stay longer? These are very powerful cards in the meta right now. Hawk dominating the meta. Null, essential for Galactus. Shanna, she could get down into Series 3 and still not see play. Stature, one of the most popular decks right now as well. Zabu, absolutely everywhere. MODOK, holding this card onto the meta with just white knuckle grip. And these are the cards that are not coming down. Tragic. I hope to see them dropping soon. I hope that the developers give us a roadmap of card drops so that you can plan your token purchases. I mean, that's part of the fun of the game, is you are trying to spend your resources as effectively as possible. And if they don't tell you how to plan for the future, then you get blindsided by stuff like this. So I'm sure there were plenty of people who could have got Hawk earlier, but held off because they were expecting Hawk and Null to be dropping down in series this month. And now they are punished for that effectively. They're going to have to pay full price. They're going to have to pay Series 4 price to be able to get these if they want to play with them in the near future. And we don't know when they're going to be dropping into Series 3. Series 3 card acquisition also seeing some updates. The token shop is going to have a new space where you will get a Series 3 mystery card. This is in addition to the specifically chosen free card. So this is on top of, and you will pay 1,000 tokens to be able to get a mystery S3 card. It does help accelerate the Series 3 acquisition for newer players especially. I don't particularly recommend throwing 1,000 tokens into the shop to be able to get just random cards out of Series 3 because they're so disparate in terms of their power level. Would really rather be able to target your picks, and so I feel like saving up and even just spending the 3,000 to take your pick of the best Series 4 cards that you want, while then you allow Series 3 to just accumulate naturally, is going to be a better cadence for free-to-play players. And saving the worst for last, more ways to earn tokens and weekend missions. People have been complaining that it didn't feel like there was enough to do on the weekends. This is their way to spice things up with 3 weekend missions. You can win games to earn credits. I love this. It seems really nice. I hope it's pretty chunky, that if you play a large block of games on a weekend, you'll get a sizable payout. That would be fantastic. Win games with the season pass card to earn gold. Okay, so if you're a premium player, you're just getting more gold. I guess this could have been wrapped up in a battle pass improvement, but sure. And then win games with newly released cards to earn tokens. We're just giving handouts to the whales and leaving the free-to-play players out in the rain. I hate the optics of this. The feels bad of being a free-to-play player and logging in every weekend to see these missions that you cannot participate in, and understanding that the accounts that are spending money in the game just have another way to be able to outscale you, earning extra gold and extra tokens. I hate it. I do. I understand. The economy structure is set up in a way that they can't give free-to-play players every single card on release. That's just the way the game is set up. But I also can't help but feel like there could have been a better way at improving the card acquisition and drip of resources into the economy. Either giving out even amounts to everybody, because people were already pretty happy with the value of the season pass. You didn't need to tack on extra gold in this way. People were not happy around tokens, and so now when you play with the newly released card, you get a slight rebate by integrating that new card into your decks immediately on the weekend. It's also going to be a way that's going to warp the meta on weekends of the people who have the new card feeling like they have to play it to be able to scrape these tokens back. So I have a number of gripes here. Maybe they won't last, maybe they will, and we'll just get used to it, and we'll find other ways to be able to help out the free-to-play players and the card acquisition. Maybe with much more consistent releases into Series 4, things are going to feel night and day better overall. We're going to have to get into a release cadence of that to really see how things shake out. But this one in particular, I'd like to hear thoughts down in the comments on how much of a feels bad this really is, and what ways it could potentially be improved. Now for the part of the video that I always get incredibly hyped for, the July season data mine. It is going to be Pheonix Force. Oh my gosh, I need this magic. I might actually play Colossus if he looks like that. And then these card backs, they are fire. That Pheonix one especially. The hand, I guess I could take it or leave it. I'll have to see that one blown up. Cool avatars as well. Pheonix Force has a new reworked ability from what had been previously data mined, as does Jean Grey. Let's break it down. The June season, of course, confirming, is going to be the Spider-Verse Ghost Spider, one of the movies that I'm most highly excited for releasing this year. Was she always a 2-3 or was she a 2-4 before? They're tinkering around here. The movement decks are going to celebrate. They're going to have a heyday. So far, the Ghost Spider ability is remaining as to what we had expected before. And now the cards that we can be expecting to be revealed. We've got Pheonix Force, Jean Grey, Echo, Legion, and Mirage hiding out down here as what could be releasing in July. Of course, subject to change, but these releases, these leaks have been largely accurate as to what we end up seeing. Pheonix Force. Let's blow up this ability a little bit. Revive one of your destroyed cards and merge with it. That card can move each turn. Ho-ho! The potential flexibility here, the addition to destruction decks, we're being able to run destruction in some off-color decks. Listen, guys, my mind has immediately gone to, we're giving the vision ability to any card. What if it was Human Torch? What if you're playing a move deck and you use Killmonger to kill your own Human Torch? You revive it with Pheonix Force, and then you are merging the 5 power with whatever power you were able to get the Human Torch up to, and then he moves on the final turn. He doubles into a crazy final combo alongside the rest of the movement card package that we are seeing. It could be absolutely wild, because you would be able to play this on 5, and then on 6, you could move the Torch, double him, and then play Heimdall to be able to move him again, or any other one of your movement activating cards. So you could see that card quadruple in power. And even if you didn't move the Human Torch prior to setting him up with the Pheonix Force, he could still be looking at a 28 power spike. That is just nuts. there's going to be a myriad of different capabilities. Just the idea of being able to revive one of your other destroyed cards, getting that ability back, you're able to gain hopefully a benefit from the destruction. My understanding is that Wolverine will not work here, because Wolverine in a number of situations is not considered destroyed the way that he regenerates and comes back stronger. It's going to be interesting to see if Deadpool falls in that category as well. I think Deadpool does, even though their power does fuel null. There's a lot of fringe cases that we're going to have to see exactly where they fall, but this could be what helps dig Death Wave out of the wave reliance and into a more powerful position, because the destruction deck did not have a 5-cost card aside from Nimrod that it was really trying to work in, and Nimrod was not working. So maybe Pheonix Force is the one that gives them the answer. Then we've got Jean Grey. I've got her pulled up over here in another tab. 3/3, beautiful card art. On reveal, the next card your opponent plays must be played here if possible. This could sneakily be one of the best cards releasing if it stays in this state in that season. The capability of locking your opponent into having to play into a location and then turn over turn, overcommit to that location with consistent plays could be devastating to what they wanted to do with their game plan. Setting her up alongside Sandman, the opponent is just handcuffed to only playing in the one location while you build power elsewhere and just completely ignore them and then run away with the game. We're looking at control levels of what old Arrow was able to do. Maybe you even can join her with Arrow. Their first card has to go here because of Jean Grey, and oh, that second card they played off to the side, Arrow's going to move it right back here. If you're able to build tempo on the other locations, that's your game to win. Your game to win, my friends. Echo. 1/2. After your opponent plays an ongoing card to remove its ability, the chance to be able to counter Cosmo for the first and only time. If Cosmo got played as the next card that they played with an ongoing ability to Echo's location, he would be blanked. With the 1/2 stat line, this is looking fantastic. I love the idea. You could play it down early to be able to stop them. You could try and catch out a Sarah. I think that she's going to find decent value. Of course, there's going to be some positions where the ongoing that gets canceled is a negative effect for the opponent, but in those situations, their deck is usually running away to be able to remove the effects of that ongoing ability anyway, and as a 1/2, I think Echo is going to find awesome value. It's going to be a bit of a meta read on if you want to include her, but I want to see what I can do with that. Next up as a potential release, Legion, a 5/7 stat line. On reveal, replace each other location with this one. Really excited to see where he ends up falling. I love anything that interacts with the locations. They are so game warping here in Snap that being able to tinker with them can be a high skill way to be able to give yourself some fun creative wins. I'm a little terrified as to what this means alongside certain featured locations and hot locations coming into the game, and how oppressive Legion being able to have a force multiplier on these wildly game warping locations will be. I do want to call out first with Flooded and Storm, which seems like maybe the best pairing on its surface. I don't think it really is, because Flooding, the precursor to Flooded, when it gets copied somewhere, always takes an extra turn before it fully locks down, and then with the price point of this card, I don't think you're going to be able to guarantee locking down boards early. And otherwise, because we don't have too many cards that are guaranteed to create a specific location, it could be hard to work them into different decks. Now, if we get more cards that just create specific locations, then Legion would be able to replicate those locations. We could see some fun synergies emerging in the future. Finally, Mirage, a 2/2. Copy the lowest cost card in your opponent's hand into your hand and give it +2 power? Wow, this is brilliant. 2/4 stat line in terms of the buff getting put on their smallest card. Also a way to buff the collector. This card, as long as it's not a 1 cost, could be decreased in cost based on Quinjet. I love it. I love it. It's a low-end white queen, but it's also buffing the card that you receive based on the meta reads. In a mirror matchup, it could be fantastic. I'm going to play Mirage very happily in anything that's running synergies with these cards on the low end. I think that she's going to be fantastic. The Spider cards all have been reconfirmed in the state that we saw before. I am very worried for what Spider-Ham is going to do to the game, and I'm very excited for what Spider-Man 2099 is going to do to the game. Ghost Spider as the headline card. I'm gonna like it in movement. I don't know if it's going to be too dominant. And then Silk, still waiting to see where she falls, moving around randomly after any other card is played to her location. Could be fun for buffing up the Craven or being able just to dictate popping her to other spaces. And the 2/5 stat line is great. It's just going to be rather unpredictable and hard to be able to keep her in one spot. There we have it, everything that has changed or is going to be changing in the next month here in Snap. Some wild alterations, a lot to be excited for, a lot to dread depending on what changes you are thinking about. They've also confirmed that Conquest mode is right around the corner, and they are close to being able to release the PC-wide version. Yes, please, Secondary can't come soon enough for me. I'm going to have to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. I read all of those. Can't wait to talk everything Snap down there. Till next time, thank you guys for watching, and I've got a Kitty Pryde deck video to go record.